Hello, dudes. Hello, lasses. Hello, other people who either don't classify as like, I ain't no dude, or I ain't no lass, or those people who just like, I classify as one of those things. I just don't like you when you call me that. Dude. You think I'm some kind of dude? Is that what I've never understood why like, especially like older people, there will be certain situations. It's not all the time. Most people wouldn't give a fuck. But like there are some people who will flip the fuck out over you calling them by a title that they do not approve of, I guess. And not like you're like saying something like racist or sexist or something terrible, something that should get your ass beat. But like you just like saying like, hey, what up, dude? And they'll be like, dude, fucking excuse me, what did you just call me, you little mother? I've never understood that mentality. Again, I'm a fucking like, I have the vocabulary of a fucking stoner from the 90s, but when like, it's one of those things where I've never understood how people can get upset about that shit. Also, I just fucked my hand up. It's a bad mistake. Big mistake. Shannon, you said calm down. Anyway, we're here with episode number 26. Or is it 26? I'm sorry. Oh god. Anyway, point is, we're here, next episode. In the last episode, I just realized I didn't give a recap to the previous episode. Shit, it was forever ago. I couldn't remember what was happening. Anyway, in this the previous episode, we showed. Oh my god, I'm dying. Anyway, we showed the scar over my heart to Hanako, and she was all like, "What? Say what?" And then we went out and had tea and stuff, and she was kind of getting like really sad and worried because she's like scared of the concept that, you know, we could just die at any time. And it was like that scar solidified it for her in her head. And then we bought her a gift, and then she was all smiley and giggly and cute, and then it was a good day. It was a good day for me and you. We're doing something and say goodbye to the blue. Finally reaching the... Sorry, it just occurred to me. Did I even press the record button? Did I even press the record button? Probably not, because that's not a thing people do. Finally reaching the classroom after the usual walk from the dormitories, I step inside. My eyes immediately turn to the third seat from the left in the back row, Hanako's seat. It's empty, and after glancing around the classroom, it looks like she isn't here yet. The two girls from the newspaper club are here in the two seats to the left of Hanako's, as are Shizune and Misha, but that's kind of about it. Goddamn dog is freaking out. I'm sorry, Joseph. I didn't mean to do it. Well, actually, I meant to do it. I didn't think about the consequences of me doing it. We exchange morning greetings before I take my seat. I have to admit that this is a bit of a relief. It gives me at least a few more minutes to think. Not that I haven't been doing so previously. Ever since our trip into town, Hanako's been on my mind. I still don't know what to make of my relationship to Hanako. I mean, I like her. I can admit that much to myself. I want to protect her and shield her from the pain she feels. I really don't think my feelings are just those of friendship anymore. That being said, I feel like I don't even know her. If I made a move on her, how would she take it? Also, can we just talk about how the make a move on someone just sounds really weird? Like, that just sounds... Like, hearing a phrase like that, you gonna make your move? I'm like, motherfucker, you make it sound like a creepy-ass chess game. Just say something that doesn't sound fucking creepy. I'm sorry, that just weirds me out. Is she in an emotional state that allows her to even make a reasonable decision regarding a relationship? How would she cope with anything that might happen afterwards? Yeah, what happens when you fucking die? I'm just... Pardon. There's also the possibility that I'm completely misinterpreting Hanako. Not a difficult thing to do with someone whose social skills seem to be so underdeveloped. The sounds of footsteps come to the door, making me perk up. What up, dudes? It ends up just being Miki. Ayo. She barely acknowledges my presence when I accidentally make eye contact with her. I'm about to look away, but another person comes in not long after she takes her seat. I find myself freeze as I see Hanako enter. This isn't a rational reaction, but I have no idea how I should act or what I should say to her. For a moment, our eyes meet. And then, just as quickly, she looks away and moves to her seat without saying a single word. And now we're in the library. As is now usual for the period following classes, my face is buried deep in a book that I find thoroughly uninteresting. What you reading, my boy? Thoroughly uninteresting? Fuck, I fucked up the whole joke. It wasn't even funny to begin with, but it's so much unfunnier when I completely fuck it up. Studying is not something that comes naturally to me. I didn't study a lot before coming to Yamaku, and until now, I've largely managed to coast through on talent alone. It's frustrating that I can't do that anymore. Dude, that was how I got through as far as I did in school, and then I didn't. And then that shit crashed and burned so fucking hard. For multiple reasons, but, I mean, like, I could have tried harder. There's a lot of circumstances that led to me being the fuck up that I am. I'm just saying that was one of them. Judging by the faces of the other few students in the library, I don't think I'm alone in my distaste for this. Misery loves company, I suppose. I decided to spend lunchtime with Hanako since we haven't had lunch together for a while now. I may as well have spent the time studying, though, aside from pathetically small snippets of small talk. God damn alliteration. There was barely a word said between us. Why does she keep doing this to me? I just want to protect her, to be there for her. Every time I feel like we're coming closer, I just end up further away. Are you busy? Hanako? What? My head whips around in surprise, causing her to retreat in fright. That was bad timing. If I hadn't been thinking about her at that very moment, I probably wouldn't have been nearly so startled. Oh God, sorry, you just startled me. I find myself staring at her longer than I should, so I go back to the text lying on the table in front of me. I feel more like I'm staring at the words rather than actually reading. I get the feeling Hanako can notice this as well, so I sigh and close the book. What's up? I was just wondering what you were reading. She looks a little downcast after my reaction to seeing her. Giving up on the prospect of getting any more work done, I get up and return the book to its place on a nearby shelf. Just an English textbook. Has it helped? Help me realize that I don't like English. Yeah. Hanako gives a small giggle. I may muse on the stained straits of a French, but I do know that little such gestures like this that I wouldn't see were I not at least some distance closer to her than when I first met. Fuck, we fucked it all up at the end anyway. I look at her for a moment, thinking about what I do and don't know about her. It's a slightly depressing topic. Is something wrong? If I want to know more about her, maybe I should stop being so evasive about it. Talking with Lily as an equal rather than being constantly in fear of causing her to become upset worked fine, so I should just try a straightforward approach with Hanako as well. Hey, Hanako, do you mind if I ask you a question? I don't mind. I want to know what your life was like. Your life before coming to Yamaku. She hesitates. I briefly consider backing off, but she seems to be taking the question quite seriously. I sit and watch her, silently letting her take her time. She's not making eye contact with me, and it looks almost as if she's arguing with herself into letting herself open up to me more. Her answer finally comes in a stiff, almost reluctant nod. She looks far more tense than she did before I had asked. Okay, but in return, you have to tell me about your life as well. I nod and follow her as she begins to walk out the library so we can talk. By now, most of the students had already left the main building, so apart from a few people hovering around club rooms, the hallways are largely empty. I guess I'll start with coming to Yamaku. Let's see, I was in the hospital when my parents first told me about Yamaku Academy. The doctors told me I shouldn't go to my old school anymore. My parents agreed and persuaded me to apply for Yamaku, even though it would mean living away from them for the first time. That must have been hard for you. Well, yeah, I have to admit that it was. My parents both work long hours and full time, so having to live reasonably independently isn't anything new to me. It was the fact that I was going to a school for disabled students that had the hardest, I think. And you? A small group of chatting girls passed us as we neared the stairs, with Hanako pressing herself tightly to my side until we reached the ground floor. She doesn't usually come this close while we're walking in the school, but so I'm a little put off. Oh my god. The staff at the orphanage... Oh, shit, nope. The staff at the orphanage offered me some options on what I could do. Middle school hadn't been good, so I thought Yamaku might be better. It was isolated, and I thought it might be easier to get there with most of the others being disabled. It's pretty ironic that the reasons Hanako looked forward to Yamaku are the exact reasons I hated the idea. To me, it felt like I was being shunted somewhere away from society and everyone I knew. To Hanako, it was probably an inviting prospect. What was life like at the orphanage? It was okay. The staff were nice and they took care of us. The children there didn't talk to me much, but I didn't really want to talk with them either, so I didn't mind. The orphanage had a little library, so I started to read to pass the time. The staff didn't mind it because it made me easier to handle than many of the other children. You didn't make any friends there? No, I think my life was on hold during that time. I knew that, but I didn't mind. To think her life was on hold for all that time, though, depending on when the fire happened, that was a huge chunk of her life. No parents, no friends, apparently no relatives. We walked through the door to the courtyard. I expect to need to avert my eyes from the sun, but by now it's well into sunset. Hanako's eyes keep flicking to me, so I look away from her for a bit. What was it like in the hospital? I quickly clear my thoughts and try to refocus them. I hesitate for a bit, but I know that I have to tell her. We're close enough to her to feel comfortable telling me this, so it's only fair that I reciprocate. I know, right? I had this discussion a little while ago, too. It's like, it's one of those things where I really, if someone's gonna tell you stuff, you feel like you kind of have to be there to back them up. And even if it makes you a little uncomfortable. It's not, for me, it's just one of those things that are just like, it feels like it's only fair to like be there and to just, I understand the mindset wholeheartedly of like, hey, I don't want you to do anything uncomfortable. I don't want you to say anything uncomfortable. You do you. You do what makes you happy. But you still want to, you still want to like be fair and like. I guess the best way I could put it is, it's no fun having just a conversation with yourself. Which, if you just don't answer questions, or if you just don't really talk back, it can be that way, and that's no fun for anyone involved. At least I don't think. I don't know. Other people might just be like, "Hello, me in the mirror. How are you?" Well, actually, I talk to myself constantly, but like, you get my point. This is one of those things. Again, not a bad thing either way. It's just my thoughts on the subject, I guess. It was okay at times, but apparently his house too. It was okay at times, but at others it was pretty bad. At the beginning, everyone sent their sympathies and came to visit often. It was like just breaking an arm or something. Yes, like just breaking an arm. Meeting all my friends was one of the good times. It came in often as well, more often than anyone else. But there were bad times too. When my friends slowly stopped visiting, I began to realize how grave my situation was. It reminded me that it wasn't just a broken limb, but that I was now a different person than I was before. Even the times it's fucking getting hot in here now. I need a fan. I need you to be as quiet as possible. You're not doing that. You're being loud as shit. You mother bastard. Son of a fuck. Alright, I think it's the quietest I'm gonna get it to go. Even the times would spend with me became torturous. By the end, we were reduced to silence, whereas before she'd be talking constantly. But that's how the always was. She may have been a fragile person, but she would talk constantly to try and hide that fact. Not about anything in particular, just, talk. That tea is not hot anymore. I think the 3 lowest points would have been when my parents told me I wouldn't be going to my old school anymore. My birthday passing while I was in the hospital, and when she left for the last time. We leave the school buildings behind us as we begin to follow the main path through the gardens. There may be the odd bystander in the school buildings, but outside we're practically alone. What was your middle school like? I liked it. I grew up in a really metropolitan area, and the middle school was nearby, so it was pretty crowded. I wouldn't mind it. I didn't mind it probably because I used to being in crowds and around lots of other people. I got good marks and played soccer with my friends. I spent a fair bit of time hanging out with them after school as well. Did get teased a lot over my hair, though. Boy, I know what you mean. And I have always had more fucked up hair than you. Your hair? I grimaced a little as I put my hand over my hair to cover it. It keeps getting tufts and strands that refuse to flatten or stay where I wanted them, and my mother wouldn't let me just get my hair shaved. It had to have a bit of a habit of popping out, so no matter how much I tried to brush it down. It still does a little. I was worried I'd get that reply. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I give a mild laugh and wave it off. It's fine. I know it still does. It feels strange to have someone act so interested in my past. If it were anyone else, I'd think they were just acting polite, but that's something I don't really think Hanako would do. Or if she did, she'd do it so badly that it would become obvious. There are a number of girls in the common room on the ground floor, and Hanako presses herself to my side as we pass them. I expect her to break off, but instead she continues to cling to me as we walk towards the stairway. Something about the way she's holding on to me feels different from the usual. I'm left deep in thought as we walk up the stairs and down the hallway. It's only when we stop that I realize that I've been following her without question. Why did we come to your dormitory room? She looks straight at the door, without so much as a glance in my direction. Hanako? She moves to answer, but stops herself. Instead, she silently breaks from my side, opens the door, and steps inside. I look up and down the hallway, a bit lost as to exactly what I should do. Shrugging, I decide to follow her since I don't really have any reason to do otherwise. Hanako stands in the middle of her room and looks straight at me. It's kind of unnerving when she does this, as it's such an unusual reaction for her. I open my mouth to speak, but she preempts me. Could you close and lock the door? Hanako's hand reaches for her chest, grabbing her blouse at her heart. I turn and lock the door shut and then freeze. The atmosphere is beginning to feel quite strange. This feeling is only made worse, more profound when I hear the curtains being pulled behind me. Yeah, no, it's kind of ominous, right? He's like, could absolutely be a great thing, could absolutely not. She's just gonna murder you in her room. It's all fun and games until the cute little shy anime lady pulls the knife out from underneath her bed. And the grin goes across her face. Sorry. It's gonna be night soon. We're a guy and a girl in a bedroom, and she's closing the curtains, and I'm shutting and locking the door. She can't really have that in mind, can she? I gulp and turn around very, very slowly. Hanako is in the center of the room, but hasn't turned back to face me. You told me about your past, so I have to tell you mine. She takes a deep, shuddering breath and pauses for a number of seconds. Her hands move to her ribbon and begin to tug, all but confirming my thoughts. Hanako, please don't say anything. I obediently stay hushed as she slips off her ribbon and continues to unbutton her blouse, before working the clip on her bra. The process is slow. Perhaps it just feels so slow because of what she's doing. I'm not sure. Frozen to the spot, all I can do is watch as Hanako, hands trembling, unclips her skirt and lets it drop to the ground. Yeah. Finally, she takes her blouse in her hands and draws it off, her bra falling from her shoulders. And so, Hanako stands in the middle of the room all but bared, save for her stockings and underwear. This is me. All of me. I'm getting dangerously close to I'm not gonna know what I'm gonna need to deal with on the side of censorship. My eyes are immediately drawn to the scarring on her back. The skin on her... I think this is all okay, but yeah. The skin on her right side is a similar texture to that of her face, but it's also stretched, taut, and covering a much larger area. The scarring is by far the worst on her shoulder, buttock, and thigh. Just as my heart attack redefined my life, this is the event that redefined Hanako's. If I had seen this when I first met her, I'd have been shocked. Not only at the sight, but also at the idea of having that something like this was survivable. But after having had time to get used to the idea, after seeing the scars on her face, hands, and collar, my reaction is a bit more measured. My reaction right now is not due to her scarring, but due to her body. The fire happened when I was 8. It was night, and we were sleeping when it started. Hanako's voice trembles, the shaking of her blouse giving away the fact that her hands were doing just the same. I curled up into a ball when the fire swept over me. My mother tried to shield me. That's the only reason I lived. Hanako's eyes begin to moisten, her voice cracking under the combined pressure of exposing herself to me like this and reliving those painful memories from so long ago. I want to say something, anything to make her feel better, but I can't. I feel completely useless when faced with a situation like this. She's forcing herself to come so close, yet it's at times like this that I feel most distant to her. I'm sorry for making you see this. There's no point in denying the obvious. I think what I should say now, and what Hanako wants me to say now, is the truth. What I genuinely, honestly believe. It doesn't matter. You're a wonderful person, Hanako. Your body doesn't change that. She looks at me for a long time, her breathing uneven as she tries... Damn. She tries to remain steady amongst the emotions we're both feeling. It feels less like she's looking at me rather than looking at me than she's looking through me. I slowly walk towards her, gently place my hands on her shoulders as she lets go of her blouse. She gasps a little, not in fright, but in simple startlement. Being so close to her causes my mind to become a jumble of feelings. The scarring on her shoulder, plain to see and leather-like to the touch, conflicts strangely with her... Goddamn sickness. Conflicts strangely with her otherwise soft skin and silky dark hair. Hanako is a girl, with all that entails. She's taller than usual for a woman, but still has curves and all the... Yeah, you don't need to elaborate, my man. I know what you... Just... Things are about to get really awkward. Yep. But still has curves. The nape of her neck, just visible thanks to all her hair slung over her shoulder, is alluring. I know that I'm not pretty like Lily. I just wanted you to see me. The real me. I've already seen the real you, though. You didn't need to take off your clothes for that. Damn it, Christ. All right. All right. Okay. But a fucking warning game. God damn it. Yep, this is about to get awkward as fuck. Okay, her lips are open just a little. She lets out a sharp breath. Yeah, no, so, I hope you guys enjoy this. For my pain. She lets out a sharp breath as, without thinking, I breathlessly lean forwards and press my lips to hers. The kiss only lasts for a fleeting moment before our faces part, our breathing quick and nervous. The feeling of Hanako's mouth lingers and her eyes remain locked to mine. Trembling a little myself, I remove my tie and begin undoing the buttons of my shirt. Hanako remains standing where she is, looking at the ground in front of her, rather than watching me undress. Fuck. On the one hand, I'm thankful for that. I've always been somewhat self-conscious of my body, but my scarring has made that quite a lot worse. On the other, though, this atmosphere feels very strange. Yeah, I would suspect so. It's strange to, be observant from the outside, my man. My shirt falls to the floor in a heap, as untidy and crumpled as Hanako's blouse and skirt. Damn. Hanako's entire body visibly flinches at the sound of my zipper on my trousers being pulled. Fuck. My trousers join my shirt on Hanako's floor next to the bed, as do my socks in short measure. I hesitate before taking off my boxers and end up leaving them on. Yeah. Alright, they represent one last hurdle I don't think I can quite overcome yet. Sheer embarrassment stops me, along with not wanting Hanako to get even more worked up. My unease about the situation also left me needing my own... Hanako? She gives a nod without so much as glancing, and she makes her way to the bed as I do. She walks as if her legs were wooden sticks. I find it amusing if I weren't doing... I'd find it amusing if I weren't doing exactly the same thing. I just hit the fucking mic button. Fuck. T, help me. I take the initiative, turning around and sitting on the side of the bed. I look to her face and invite her to take a seat either next to me or in front of me, but I end up awkwardly looking down to stop myself from staring at her body. So I'm thinking, I mean, it'll be obvious what I've done by the end of it. But for now, I'm thinking like just Claire with a censor bar. Just be like, you know what, bitch? You don't need to see this. And neither does you two. Fuck. Nevertheless, she takes her cue and reluctantly sits between my legs. As she does, a restless sensation hits me all at once. Thanks for sharing. The feeling of her behind my crotch is almost obvious, but her scent is just as strong. You don't have to talk about how she smells. To be honest, I don't need it in my life. She worked up a slight sweat already from her nervousness, and the smell and feeling of her hair is washed across my face. I try to put a smile on to try and make the situation a bit more comfortable for her, but it feels really stilted. Deciding to try and move things along, one hand flits itself onto her breast and the other rests on her leg. Her lips purse tightly together as she tries unsuccessfully to suppress Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. Hanako takes a breath and shakes her head as her only reply. A gulp comes from deep in my throat before beginning to move my hand around, feeling and stuff. It feels really nice, you know. It's a great time for all involved. Giving away underneath my palm with just a little bit of firmness. That was... Okay, so now, it means I just have to fucking edit more of this shit. But, the whole... This was something I was really... I didn't know exactly how I was going to feel about doing. For multiple reasons. Number one, I love this fucking game. It's a great game. The story is fucking awesome to me. I've said it, I think I've said it before, but the most important thing to me in any story of any kind is the characters. You can have the shittiest story ever. Gameplay that looks like ass. Graphics I couldn't care less about. If you have characters that matter to me, I don't give a fuck. I will play that shit no matter what. Luckily, this game happens to have a lot of other really cool stuff to go with it, but characters forever kind of are the do-all end-all of things that are important to me in gaming and with movies and TV, and it's why I fucking adore RWBY as much as I do as a show, is because the characters, I fucking love those characters. The world and everything else is awesome too, and the story and the fucking kick-assery, it's awesome, but in the end, the characters are number one, the thing that... I might have to just look away from the screen. But, you know, it's... So, I really, really wanted to play this game, and it was really, really cool, and it's great. But I knew this was coming, and it was the decision of whether or not I turn it off and, you know, save myself time, but also the biggest reason I decided not to. Number one, because it's probably funny watching me fucking be awkward as shit over here. I don't know, maybe. Probably not. It's actually probably horrific. But the biggest reason is because there are certain scenes, such as this, that have a decent amount of actual legitimate reason and point to them. It doesn't seem so yet, necessarily, maybe. But specifically, like, I'd say out of all of them, Hanako's is the most important. I'm not going to go into why, because after this we'll have one more episode, because this comes very, very close to the end. But it has a lot of importance in the story to it. So yeah. So I decided in the end I was just going to go with it. So I went with it. Moving on. All right. God damn it. For a while, I don't think that it's helping her get into the mood at all, but slowly her eyelids begin to lower, her breathing slows to more rhythmic pattern, and her body begins to relax into mine. Yeah, it's definitely awkward, but hopefully it's entertaining. It's slowly satisfying to be able to make Hanako feel like this. Definitely better than the feeling of her body alone. I can sense a little hard bump brushing against my fingers that wasn't there before. I slowly move my head downwards, trying not to surprise her too much. She gives no protest, and my fingers begin to... Her body is pressed against mine, now within sheen of sweat on both of us. She feels warm, and all this has more served to arouse me as well as her. Hanako gives a small gasp, her fingers pressing a little harder and moving a little faster, almost instinctively. The girl in front of me, the girl pressing against me. I'm all about it, is what he was going for there. I stop moving my fingers, making Hanako give a long breath of relief from the feelings welling up inside her. Her face looks to mine, a little silent but expectant. All I do is nod. I don't know which one of us is going to be more apprehensive right now. Thank God. I know we're not done, but thank God. I push myself back onto the bed and extricating myself from Hanako with a certain amount of reluctance. For her part, she slides back and lies down with her head on her pillow, breathing heavily all the while. Fucking Christ. Yep, no, that entire goddamn screen has to go. Hanako's lying in front of me. Her everything. Her scars just look to make her all the more unique. I'm left without words that she'd allow me to see her like this. I bring myself closer to her, closing my hands on her waist. I wait for her to nod a bit before taking a delicate hold of her stockings, taking them a bit as gently as I can manage. I don't think I can get them off without... That's the worst part too, is I can't even leave the fucking text in at this part, because... Yeah, so you just have to kind of go with what I'm giving you. You know, this whole... Like, literally the whole screen has to go. God damn it. I don't think I can get them off without tearing them, so I end up just leaving them on her legs and moving stuff aside. Hanako lies practically naked on the bed, her most parts, and the scarring of her body now plain to see. God damn. Bringing my fingers to places, I do stuff. She breathes. Her breath catches. You know, she's okay. And, he adjusts himself and takes a place upon the bed. Fucking Christ! This whole thing is just ridiculous. I'm sorry, this is an intimate moment. Hanako's entire body tenses as I bring myself closer to her, her eyes widening. She is afraid of what comes next. Am I gonna have a good time, or am I just gonna something? I don't know. I take a long breath before realizing something I should have thought of before. I close my eyes and concentrate deeply. My heart thumps away as I focus my mind on its beating. It's faster than usual, of course, but the beat is regular. I think I can keep it in check if I take it this slowly. Yeah, don't kill yourself hooking up with the nice lady, because that's gonna be awkward. How are you gonna explain that to your parents? Are you okay? I open my eyes and look at her. I guess that must have looked pretty worrying to someone else watching me. Nope, fuck, that's not your voice, my man. He's like, I'm okay. I was just making sure that I am dying, you know? She hesitates a little before nodding. She looks a little less afraid than before, so maybe showing her that I was worried also helped reassure her. I lean over her and press my lips to hers, our tongues just doing stuff. I can feel her body becoming less tense in her mind, so it's getting us both back into the right mood. I'm really fucking glad there's no one else in the house, right? Well, there are people in the house, but they're not within range to hear. That'd have been awkward. Then I remember something and pull back. I lean over the side of the bed wearing my trousers on, my hand reaching for the back pocket. I feel around a blind for a few seconds until a little foil square brushes just underneath my fingertip. Good on you, my man. I quickly pull it out and right myself on the bed, sitting back from Hanako a little and fidgeting with the fact, get the fuck, mother, goddamn, I'm in the middle of something, fucking open up, fucking ruining the mood. It takes a it takes a little while for everything to go on correctly, but eventually it does what it needs to. My slight confusion at my first time trying to do that seems to have amused her a little as I position myself over her and we share a small nervous laugh. Now, though, I need to try and not die. And also get things right. You gotta do it right, my man. I gotta do it right. It's awkward. It's awkward every time. This is fuck. I look down and try to get my knees and my waist into what I think are the right places. And then I do stuff with stuff. Hanako's face is looking at mine, and her eyes are pointed down to stuff. With a short breath, I stuff... that actually fit a little too perfectly. All right. She's not, I guess, the thing for her. In one stroke, he does some stuff. The rest of sensations and emotions are all up in his head, and there was a yelp. Looking at her face makes me feel uneasy. I mistakenly pushed too hard and too fast and caused a bit more pain than necessary. Neither of us really knows what we're doing, and it's the last thing I wanted to hurt. Yeah, no, that's no fun. It's supposed to be a happy time. That's no fun. Hanako opens her eyes again and looks towards me. She must have seen how troubled I look as she tries her best to put on a happy face. It is not convincing at all. He looks down and does stuff. After she recovers. It's unnatural, is what feels like, and muscles in the lower body that he's never moved before. He's extra stress on the heart that he probably shouldn't, and with every moment, he's keep track heartbeat. Going into detail on the feelings. Oh, and then she just looks like she's in pain. That's no fun. Fuck. Literally fuck. He puts his arms around her. He's gonna help her out a little bit, lift her up. Trying to just make it as good as possible and not as painful. Just like helping each other out and stuff. Fuck. He's talking about how she smells again. Thanks again, dude. I just like, it's not my priority, to be honest, to know about this. And, you know, that's good. You're not worrying about yourself so much, except for just don't die because of it. You know, that's my thoughts on the subject. He's not paying attention to time. And you know, he's starting to get faint from hyperventilating. He wants her to have a good time. But he's also, you know, he's getting to places. He's not paying attention so much anymore. He's just kind of going with the stuff. And just like, every time I think found rhythm, we just lose it in our movements. From the sound she's making, I don't think the positions help Hanako feel much better, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to hold her anymore. And he turns his layer, just gonna put her back down on the bed, you know, it's like where it's probably better, and then, you know, they're just kind of just going at this point. They're like not really thinking, just like do it. You just, you know, there's the finish line over there, and you just like I eyes on the prize, and then and he's reaching points. I screams out her name, which is probably extremely awkward to everyone else in the dormitories near you guys. Yeah, we all are making noises. He hits a point You know what point. You're an adult. I hope. Please don't watch this if you're a fucking child. Get out of here. Get out of here. Fuck. He's doing stuff. Euphoria is a word that was used. Then everything's going white. Get it? Symbolism. Jism every... Okay. And then after a couple of seconds, it ends. The sound of Hanako's breathing in my own rings in my ears, almost painfully loudly. Hanako holds an arm over her face, her mouth open and gulping in air. As I hold myself over her, suddenly my arms almost give way and my vision distorts, as if someone's grabbed it and pulled it sideways. What is the it that you're referring to? Your vision? Your dick? I let myself fall sideways onto the bed beside the panting Hanako, for fear of falling onto her instead. We both lie beside each other, naked and pressed against one another, in order to fit on a bed made for a single person. My eyes tried to focus on the ceiling, to not much success. Pulling a blanket over us to stave off the cold is all I can do. The only sound in the room is that of our breathing. The sweat that had accumulated on my body feels uncomfortable. We're both physically and emotionally exhausted and a complete mess all over. Yeah, no, I suspect there's going to be some cleaning need to be done. What the fuck did I just tell you about not dying? My vision slowly begins to turn to normal as I continue to stare at the ceiling, but my limbs still feel like jelly. I try to concentrate on my chest and find its beat irregular and mildly painful. This is a very dangerous time. I have to think this through and not panic, lest I make my situation any worse. Yeah, breathe. Serenity, peace. Not dying. Like that. With a huge effort, I take control of my erratic breathing, forcing myself to take long, deep breaths. I count half a dozen before I start to feel physically calm again, and I press my hand on my chest to assure myself. My heart beats back to normal. I'm not gonna die yet. Oh, look at that face. Also, thank you for having the blanket there. I'm already not happy with everything I have to deal with this fucking episode. I turn my face towards Hanako, who is already looking at me. Her expression looks pretty dazed, but underneath that there's definitely a look of concern. She's realized what happened. I'm okay. Everything's back to normal. I find myself barely able to get the words out between breaths. I don't think diddlementation would tire a normal body out this much, so I have no doubt my condition's at least partially at fault. Why did my body have to do this right now? What did you think was gonna happen? It's a physically exerting activity! Your heart! All thoughts on my heart, though, are pushed aside as I see the wide smile forming on Hanako's face. As always, I smile back without another thought. Hanako's smile has always been infectious in its almost childlike sweetness and earnesty, something that sets her apart from anyone else I know. Right now, we don't need words. Everything we want to communicate to each other we can just share just fine without them. And dead. There's a lot of different hairstyles that have that kind of thing where a decent amount of the bang goes over one eye or something like that, or it's part of... I like that shit a lot. I don't know why. It's just I think it's mysterious. I think that's what it is. It's the mystery. It's what is behind those... What's behind those eyes? What lies do you tell me in your eyes? Sorry. Get the fuck... Mother... Goddamn, I'm in the middle of something. Fucking open up. Get the... Fucking ruining the mood. It takes a...